What's going on, guys? Mr. Jones coming at you once again. Today we're going to talk about Task 3.2. We skipped Chapter 2. We're finished with Chapter 1 with arithmetic and geometric sequences. But of course, everything in math just builds on each other, so it's not going away. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump back into it. Right before this, you should have heard a video that Mr. Norman made, and it talked about all the vocab words. I believe there's 8 of them. So we're talking about minimum, well, increasing, decreasing, domain, range, maximum, minimum. And then you have your X and Y intercepts. So hopefully you have those notes out. They're in your comp book. I know he usually has a really cool chart and a really cool way for you to get notes on that. So I know he made a really good video for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get into this since you already have those notes out, and pause it if you don't. All right, here we go. We have 3 friends, Alonzo, Maria, and Sierra, and they're floating in inner tubes down a river just enjoying their day. All right, Alonzo noticed that sometimes the water level was higher in some places than in other places. Maria noticed that there were times they seemed to be moving faster than at other times. Sierra laughed and said, "Math is everywhere." To learn more about the river, Alonzo and Maria, the big nerds of the bunch, collected data throughout the trip. All right, so they're collecting data while they're going down the inner tubes. I don't know if they have waterproof paper or what's going on, but they're able to make a table and a graph. Okay, so right off the bat, I want you to realize that this table was made by Alonzo. Okay, this is Alonzo's table. And I don't like the OS there. It just belongs to Alonzo. Pay attention that this is comparing time in minutes to the depth of the water in feet. So as they're going down the river in the inner tube, he's recording, it looks like every 10 minutes and 10-minute intervals, how deep the water is. So he probably has a real long stick, and he's able to see how many feet the water is depth-wise. Okay, so right now it says use the data collected by Alonzo to interpret the key features of this relationship. Okay, the key features, those are those 8 vocab words, okay? So you're going to write on the side, where is my graph increasing? Okay, where is my graph decreasing? What's the maximum value? What's the minimum value? Where are the X and Y intercepts? Okay, what's the domain? What's the range? You're going to answer that for all of these questions. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, please, and see what kind of answers you get, and then I'll give you the answers, but it's way better if you can see if you can't figure it out first. So go ahead and pause. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. So hopefully you watched the video that Mr. Norman made, and you were able to get some information from that, and let's see how you guys did. So looking at Alonzo's table, the first thing we want to talk about is where our graph is increasing. Why? I don't know. You can do them in whatever order you want. I'm just going to do them in order of the words down there. So increasing. So where is my graph increasing? In other words, where is my graph going up? So you're looking at the Y values because that's your graph going up, but your answer is talking about which X values have a Y values that are going up. So time is always X because time happens no matter what, and this has got to be our Y. Okay, so as time moves, just see, okay, I'm going up, 4 to 6 to 8 to 10. So I'm increasing all the way from 0 to 30. Those are the X values I'm increasing in because you can see my Y values are increasing. They're going up. So we're going to say from 0 to 30. And let's see, so we're decreasing, then we start increasing here again. So from 60 to 70, we're increasing, all the way to 90. So I'd say and from 60 to 90, all right? Now you can always just say from 0 to 30 and 60 to 90 is fine. All right, so that's where we're going up. Decreasing is the opposite. Okay, so decreasing pretty much in this case is everywhere it's not increasing, although sometimes it could be constant. So we'll put these in green from, let's see, 30 to 60. And from 90 to 120. Ooh, so we're going to say 30, 60 and 90, 120. So that's where my graph is going down, or my table where the y values are going down, or between those x values. All right, there's decreasing and increasing. Okay, next we're going to talk about what the domain is. Remember whenever Mr. Norman had his video, domain all possible x values. All possible x values. Well, x starts at 0, ends at 120. And is 0 included? Yes, the 0 time is included, so we're going to go ahead and use that bracket. And a time of 120 minutes is also included, so we're going to go ahead and use that bracket. Those are real numbers and they're truly included. All right, let's talk about range, all possible y values. This one's a little trickier, but you're going to put lowest to highest all the time. So the highest y value that we know of is 12, it looks like, and the lowest is maybe 4. I don't see any y values lower than 4. So we're going to say 4 to 12, and both are actually included. Okay, so everything between 4 and 12, we're going to assume that's true. All right, let's go ahead and go to the maximum. Now, maximum is saying what's your highest y value? That's 12. And your minimum, your lowest y value, that's 4. Notice these match those, because your minimum and maximum is talking about y values, and your range gives you the lowest and highest y values. All right, x and y intercepts. Okay, if you have an x-intercept, you have a y value of 0. I don't see any y values of 0, but I do see an x value of 0. It's at 0, 4. So this is a y-intercept. Okay, so at 0, 4, right there, you have a y-intercept. All right. Now what I want you to do after we've done all that work, okay, make sure you have this in your notes. We're going to do the exact same thing for the graph, for Maria's graph. Okay, so this graph right here belongs to Maria. All right, go ahead and do this. Find all 8 things just like we did for the table, but do it for the graph. Please pause the video and give it a shot, guys. Okay, you'll learn so much more even if you have to erase. Give it a shot. All right, hopefully you guys had a chance to do this on your own. You pause the video so you can learn more. Let's go ahead and go quicker. Where is my graph increasing? Notice my time is still x, and my distance in feet, that's how far you've traveled, is in y. Okay, so notice that. My graph is literally always increasing, but I'm going to go ahead and say from 0 to 120, because remember, increasing is in the x box, the x table. So it's from 0 to 120, because I'm always, my distance is always increasing. Otherwise, you'd be going back down the river. Where is my graph decreasing? I'm just going to put never. My graph is never going to go down. That would mean that my distance away from the starting point went down. That'd be bad news. Your minimum is talking about your y value. Well, we started a distance of 0. We've gone 0 feet. And then our furthest distance, I don't know, it's about right here. I mean, you're looking at 10, 12, 14, 16. I don't know. I'm going to put 16,000. I'm not sure exactly what the number is supposed to be, but it looks like it's about a height of 16,000. We're counting by 2,000s apiece. Okay, your domain is all possible x values. Well, guess what? X is the same exact thing in this graph as it was in the table, because our domain is talking about time. But our range, that's all possible y values. Now we're at 0 and then however high we went, which was that 16,000. Remember, my range always matches my minimum and max. Okay. Last but not least, I have x and y intercept. They're both the same intercept. Hopefully you realize it does have one and it crosses at 0, 0, which is an x and y intercept. And that's happening right here. Okay? All right, so there's those two problems. All right, so now notice that we're talking about Sierra. So apparently Sierra wasn't the lazy friend. She just wanted to take all the data and figure some stuff out. So problem number 3 says Sierra looked at the data collected by her two friends and made several of her own observations. Explain why you agree or disagree with each observation made. So sometimes Sarah's going to refer to the table. Sometimes Sarah's going to refer to the graph. You have to decide which one based on what it's talking about. Okay, let's go back up here. Remember that the table is talking about depth. The graph is talking about distance. So now look at this. If A says the depth, okay, you're talking about the table. If it says distance, you're talking about the graph. So be aware of what it's talking about before you answer the question. Okay, the depth of the water increases and decreases throughout the 120 minutes of floating down the river. You're going to put agree or disagree, and then you also need to tell me why. So you should put this on a separate piece of paper. You could type this up if you want. I know I'd be faster if I typed it. So why do you say agree? Why do you say disagree? What about the table and the graph are you looking at? Okay, so let's go ahead and just do A together. Okay, the depth of the water increases and decreases throughout the trip. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the table. I'm going to say I agree. Because as you look at the table, the y values go up, and then the y values go down. Then the y values go up, and then the y values go down. You can explain that and talk about what you wrote here for this increasing and decreasing piece. You can see that it increases and decreases throughout the entire trip. So that's what you're going to put for your answer, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and zoom back over here. This is the rest of the assignment. I'm not going to go over all of these, but A through M is the rest of the assignment. And number 1 and 2 that I just gave you for free, you should definitely have those, okay? So make sure you take a picture of this and submit this, and you'll be all set. Have a great rest of your day.